This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
Hello, this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can not text the show today because I'm afraid we're not live, so you'd be throwing your money into an enormous abyss. Nevertheless, you can still follow us at Frank on the Radio on Twitter and Instagram, or email us via the Absolute Radio website. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Morning.
So first things first, any news on the mnemonic? Do you remember, regular readers will know that I asked someone if they could put together a mnemonic, which is a thing, as I'm sure many of you know, that helps you to remember things, but base it on the initials of Mnemone, the Radio 1 DJ's name, because it sounds a bit like mnemonic.
Yeah.
Anyone ever answer that?
Well, no, to be completely blunt with you. However, we've had some other good things in, including a photograph of a Perrier can aeroplane, which they thought you needed to see in reference to the overt recycling topic that we...
Overt recycling, yeah, when you can still see what the original item was quite deliberately. Yes. It's in the same school as the Coke can racing car.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
and
a particularly odd example, which I can't help but think has been knocked up just for our entertainment in a couple of minutes before being sent to us, is at Heggy, who sent us a photograph of best example is my shower pump candelabra. And it is pretty much what it says on the tin. It's a shower
Isn't
pump.
that a Black Eyed Peas song?
What is a shower pump?
I think it's the pump that forces the water on a shower, perhaps on a mobile shower, like in a caravan.
No one's ever seen. No one's ever seen one of those.
Yeah,
That could just be a chandelier.
it looks like a bit of industrial. It looked not a million miles from being like a car battery with 4 candles stuck on top of it.
4 candles?
4 candles.
Say. Write that down. There's something in that.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of the classic comedy today, aren't we?
I've been. I had an offer to if I would like free healthy food for a period of time that arrives in boxes every morning. And breakfast, lunch.
Are you
and
sure
it's all
it was
very
meant to have your
healthy
name on it, Frank?
I thought it's odd because obviously they said, but you have to mention it on social media, and I thought, what are you talking about? Social media. And anyway, so I said, yeah, I'll do it. And they sent me, I can have the 1,200 calories a day, the 1,800 calories, the vegan and all that. And I saw the list, and I think this is a post-lockdown thing. I saw the list. I had to fill in like 5 things, and then I'd have free food for whatever it was, a week or so. And I thought, can't be bothered with it. So I haven't done it. I said, just cancel it. I can't. Too much faff.
Really? What, you didn't want to fill out?
I just think lockdown has been so sort of easy in that not having to do all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go back to it, really. I can buy food. The moment, at this point in my life, I can buy food.
Yeah.
Also,
I've had a lot of money come in. I've had a lot of money come in this week. Yeah, I don't know if I told you. I own the image rights on the fingers crossed emoji. Which has been, I never thought it would take off like it has in the last 3 months.
That's done really well.
Oh, man, we're raking it in.
I'm really glad you turned it down, Frank, because I don't see you as a sort of, grains for tweets type character.
No, but you know what? I like the idea that people look at me and think,
End that sentence there.
I might start, I might try and eat what that guy eats. Nobody's ever thought that.
Well, actually, I did that time that you ordered bone marrow as a starter when we all went out for dinner.
Yeah, that's one of the most disgusting things I've ever had in my life. I think every bit of meat I've eaten with a bone in, I've been that close to disgustingness. Terrible, fatty, honestly. In those zombie films when they eat people's entrails still steaming. I would prefer that to ever again eat bone marrow.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
I don't suppose either of you guys have got electric fire or a gas fire in your homes, have you?
I don't like to show off, but we do have a gas fire in our home, yes.
Oh, okay. Can I ask you
Me
a
too.
question?
One of those, made to look like an oldie fireplace. Mine's a bit more
Yes.
modern, but with the square. Yes, I have one.
Can I ask you a question? Something that I had completely forgotten. In fact, this ought to be... Do you remember when we used to play Whatever Happened To
Yeah.
as a game on the show, and I'd play that little bit from The Stranglers. I'm going to try and do it live because I don't have access to jingles. Mm-hmm. I bet Dave Berry does, but I accept there's a pecking order in all organisations. Here goes. Whatever happened to, and then I'd say whatever happened to. This is tied to electric and gas fires. Whatever happened to, and if you guys tell me you still do this, I'd be very happy. Whatever happened to people having a bowl of water next to the gas to keep the room moist, the atmosphere of the room moist?
Very good.
And is that still a thing that people
I
do?
don't think that should have ever been a thing, but I'm pretty sure it's no longer a thing.
Also,
Well, it
Frank,
used to evaporate. I can say it must have gone
it?
somewhere.
And also, I associate these modern gas fires, Frank, with your bachelor pads, with one flick of the remote, and then suddenly the ring of flame comes on, and next thing you know, the lady's in the mood. That's what I associate the gas fire with these days.
I fell into one of those ring of flames.
Oh, yeah, how was that?
Yeah.
What was that?
Well, the flames went higher and higher, and etc. I think it could still work in a bachelor pad. I like the idea of steadily unbuttoning someone's satin shirt and then saying, "Hold it right there. I've just got to top the water up adjacent to my gas fire because we don't want to. What do we want to do? Dehydrate."
I associate the modern versions of these with the little pile of fake coals. Ours has got a pile of fake coals, and if it's disturbed, I think you're supposed to put them back in a particular order. And
Is that right?
We don't. We just jumble them back on top, so it's probably really risky.
Question: are they loose, the coals, rather than fitted with the orange underglow, which were the fires of my
like
youth?
a combination of the two. There's definitely a looseness where they can kind of jiggle about a bit.
But there's a jigsaw element to this where they have to go back in the correct position.
Yes, exactly.
That's the most bizarre thing I've ever heard in my life.
That's all
Is it
we've
one of
been
these
doing.
things? If you put them back in the wrong order, does the floor open up and knives shoot out of the walls and stuff like in those old movies when you have to steal the idol's jewel?
That's how we've spent 90% of lockdown, is trying to put the coals back on the fire in the right order.
It sounds. God. I remember Joan of Arc telling me exactly that. Must have been. Well, it must have
I
been
also miss, Frank, the
300
little
years ago.
the foam sort of cloaks or coats that was it the immersion heater or the boiler would have over them. Oh, I love those.
Don't they
the
still?
foam
Don't
coats.
they still do that?
No, not up
No longer
I
lagging.
think they still have
Maureen.
a Parker jacket type thing.
Yeah, exactly. No, they go commando now. The boilers.
And me in lockdown. Honestly,
Oh.
I think I've worn boxer shorts twice since early March. I think.
Oh, no. People having their breakfast
It's
as
just
well.
really unnecessary in lockdown.
You are.
Yeah. Sounds to me like the last thing that's happened is a lockdown.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So, tremendous news. We've gone from 4 alert to 3 alert.
Have we?
Yeah, did you not know?
No.
No.
Congratulations, everyone. We've been so good at the social distancing and stuff that, we've been awarded with going down a notch, which is great
This is
news.
the first time I've found this show to be an actual public good in a way. Like,
What was the time when Arj remember when Arj went missing and we announced on the show that he'd been found? I thought that was it's the only time I've ever been in any sort of rolling news situation. It was great. So
I believe.
I've been Kay Burley, but less menacing.
I believe what you actually said was Arj once was lost, but now is found.
Well, yeah. And it was. I don't know if does he remain found or is he? Yeah. I don't know. I've certainly lost him.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't think he's with the GC anymore, though. I'm not quite sure. It's very on and off their relationship.
Was he with the GC? I forgot there. It's best.
Yes, because I remember
best to keep them together.
Well, I remember seeing a clip and she took off a sort of robe and she said, "Take a look at this, Candy, because you ain't ever getting this."
Oh.
Yeah.
Who was she talking to? The guy who appeared in the later series of Bonanza, Candy, after Adam Cartwright, played by Pernell Roberts, left. Probably not. So I've been sort of going out and stuff, you know. Yeah. Did you not see me at the Churchill statue? No, that's a joke. That's a joke. I'll tell you what I did. I went to church this week because you're allowed to now.
Are you?
How are you?
For private worship,
all right, Al.
as they call
We've
it,
all
not
had a
for
drink,
mass.
mate. Do you socially distance then in the church, Frank?
Yeah, well, when you're going in, it's not a mass, so, you know, there's not that many people piling in to pray mid-afternoon. But it was, look, what can I say? It was great. But I realised, I went in a shop and I realised I'd completely forgotten, I have 2 credit cards. I'd completely forgotten both of the PIN numbers.
I have 2 credit cards.
I haven't used
50 cent.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't used either of them for like whatever it is, 2-3 months. I just forgot completely. I've forgotten the numbers. So I had to abandon. I've got some cash. As soon as that runs out, I'm finished. I do not know what I can't remember anything that I don't do for 2 or 3 months. Keep it clean.
Trying.
Yeah, so you guys, have you been using your PIN numbers?
I've been doing Tappy Pay. You know the Tappy Pay?
Tappy Pay?
You know that thing where you tap it and that just takes the money off?
Contactless, he means.
That's the one.
I haven't really been out, you see, that much. So anyway, that's gone.
Haven't really spent money, it seems.
In fact, I went to go out.
That's what this is about.
I hadn't actually got shoes on. And I thought, hold on, I'm gonna need shoes. Happily, the ones I picked up, the laces were already tied, so I didn't have to go through that. But I'm going to have to relearn. I don't know if it's an age thing, but I'm going to have to relearn quite a bit post-lockdown. I've just gone to seed completely. So
How to spend money with Frank Skinner, I'd buy that.
in what way will you be a different person after lockdown? 8, 12, 15. Don't text in today, by the way, because if you text in today, you're wasting your money. But I'd love to know what people are going to have to relearn. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I went into a chemist, for example. No, and
Oh, Frank.
I know I can't tell it. Forget it.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I'll tell you what, though, I would love to hear from any of our readers that still keep a dish of water next to the gas or electric fire. I'd like to know. I feel there should be some sort of survey done along the lines of the coronavirus testing. I want to know how many are out there so we can. I can say on next week's show. So if we look at this first slide, please, and then I'll talk about the charts.
Also, I would like to actually say I will award some sort of prize if there is a Gen Z reader with a bowl of water. They get extra points if there's a young person with that.
I'd be amazed if there's a young person with a gas or electric fire, to be honest. Aren't they a bit? They're a bit student bedsit 1979, aren't they?
Yeah,
I'm going off my own personal experience.
Yeah.
On your question before about what we might have to relearn on coming out of lockdown, I think for me it might have to be driving properly, because I've hardly driven, maybe once a week if that, since lockdown, and I have noticed, because the roads have been empty, that I'm not indicating as much as I used to before turning. Is that a thing?
I find. I mean, you're an interesting combination of the physically powerful and the internally sensitive.
Thank you.
But
I don't think it's true, but I'll take that.
But I find a lot of what I would call testosterone-fueled men regard indicating in any form as a sign of weakness.
Yes, they see it as a moral failure, don't they?
Yeah,
I'm not sure I come in that category of testosterone-fueled men.
No, I think you wouldn't have to step far. You can see the postcode from where you are, but I'd rather you didn't. They never indicate. Pardon?
I've got the numbers of those men, whilst not being one of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm
they're
sure
the
you
same
know. Ask
men.
your friends at the gym how many of them indicate.
Frank.
I bet you
They're the same men that would put the arm across the passenger seat whilst reversing, just using the wrist and palm as a sort of disc to reverse on the steering wheel.
I saw a guy do that. I was on a car park and he was really swearing in the car about the fact that somebody had parked slightly over the line and made a very narrow gap. He got kids in the car and stuff. I decided not to say anything because he looked like a man capable of great violence. And then he started suddenly circulating the right hand. I think the idea is you use, I don't know what part of that hand is called, but at the very base of the fingers. Do you know what I mean? There's a sort of, if you bend your fingers back, you can make that like a really, and he went round and round and he shot it backwards into this space. I mean, I felt like applauding, but again, he might have thought I was being ironic. He wouldn't have identified it like that verbally, but he felt something in the deep recesses of his animalistic innards that I was taking the mickey out of him. But it was an incredible. It was like, I mean, if he'd done it, if it could have been staged on Britain's Got Talent, I think he would have got through to the next round. It's an incredible piece of parking.
Yes.
But it was completely fueled by rage. But it's the best example of the spinning wheel hand. In Cairo, where traffic is the worst I've ever seen, they have little handles fitted to the tops of their steering wheels. So they can do that spinning thing. And it leaves the other hand free for blasting the horn continually in traffic. It's really something else.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
So, I've been doing a lot of homeschooling just lately, which has been one of the most stressful things. A career of live comedy, some 30 years, has been less stressful. If I was to put all the stress into a bag, I think there'd be less stress than there is from 3 months of homeschooling. Nevertheless, I was listening in the other day, and one of the kids was demonstrating how to make a scrambled egg, which I thought was brilliant for an 8-year-old. I certainly couldn't do that. I couldn't do that now. That's not a joke. And he was mixing it round, and the teacher said, this is something I overheard, the teacher said, you have to be very careful, don't you, or it can become an omelette. And I thought, wow, that's never occurred to me before. But what is this? What is this mythical line, this equatorial line that separates a scrambled egg from... What happens that makes a scrambled egg become an omelette? Discuss.
Well,
Alan, do you want to deal with this, or shall I?
Yeah, I think I will. I think I'm going If you don't scramble it, then it just firms up and becomes an omelette. Do you see?
I mean, it's very simple, Frank.
Whereas if you stir it, it becomes scrambled egg. The clue is actually in the title.
So the scrambling happens in the frying pan, does it?
Yeah.
It's a cooking process, exactly.
Why would anyone do that?
What, the scrambling?
Why not
that's
just
what they
let it
want.
become an omelette?
Scrambled. I don't like an
An,
omelette.
an omelette is so much easier to handle. You know, it holds together a lot more.
But it doesn't look as visually appealing. I mean, a scrambled
mine
egg
do.
on a bagel. Hang on, you mind your turn. Scrambled egg on a bagel, Al, compared to an
I
omelette, looks like an
know,
old
I
shoe. I don't like that. It's like a disappointing pancake, an omelette.
No, I love. I've only learnt omelettes during lockdown, and it's been one of the things that's changed for the best for me.
Is
in
that why you
lockdown.
keep calling it on lockdown?
Wow. Wow. I mean, congratulations. I hope you haven't overreached and pulled a muscle. You're
Oh,
lumbar
God.
reaching.
Just putting some deep heat straight on my back after
But it's never occurred to me that something could happen in the process where the scrambled egg could become the omelette. I thought you had to decide from the beginning.
We did have
Right.
some reviews of your omelette making after you posted some photographs on the socials.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got criticism for putting it in.
Yeah, I'm afraid you did. I didn't want to
Bowl?
raise it, but well, I kind
Yeah,
of
I
did.
thought that was a funny decision.
Yeah, I know.
Well, who cares what you eat it out of?
You're right. That's why I have cereal on a plate every morning.
And exactly. And then also, I don't use that bowl. I'm looking for a use for that bowl since I don't leave it full of water next to my electric fire. I wonder what happened to all those bowls. Were they cast out, or people thought, no, you can still eat out of it, it'll be fine? Did they
Yeah.
feel it's somehow part of the gas electricity industry because it was used as an accompaniment? It's a bit like they often say thoroughbred racehorses when they travel. They put like a donkey in with them or something as some sort of company. I think
they?
the bowl. Yeah, I think the bowl of
Oh,
water.
that's nice. I worry
worked a
that's
bit
my
like
role on this show.
Oh, come
Oh,
on.
come on.
This
I
is,
noticed it went a bit silent after one "Oh, come on."
No,
That's it.
I was thinking lions led by donkeys. Is that what they said about that? That's what this show is, and I'm very much in the braying section.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
Hello, this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You cannot text the show at the moment. Just don't. We're not live, but you can still follow us at Frank on the Radio on Twitter and Instagram, and email us via the Absolute Radio website. That would be okay.
Yes.
Yes. Now, the outside world, a place it's becoming more familiar, but I'd still love to hear from it.
Okay. Well, do you remember we were talking about flake ice? Well, specifically the 99 ice cream, Frank, last week.
I was talking about an ice cream van where it was basically that there was a biro written sign in the window, and it said, I think it was ice cream cone with chocolate flake bar inserted was what it said. And when he explained to me he couldn't use the term 99 because it was a rights issue. Can you believe that?
Well, I think we were.
Can I just for a second, when people ever say it's a rights issue, you can't do that because they own the image rights and all that. Have they ever been to a fairground where you get those like terrible paintings of Donald Duck looking like really thin, no real tail thing, and like quite thick-jawed Mickey Mouse, like a sort of a Mickey Mouse in the sort of like a David Coulthard type shape.
And also,
Where's the Disney legal people? What, don't they ever go to fairs in England?
I think they're too busy.
Disney legal people. Can you imagine? Yeah, I got the Hampstead Fair, and then the
I'm going to write to Disney and I say I'm going to send a couple of your legal people over. Give me like a five grand, say, and I'll drive them all around the
$5 grand.
Britain
$5 grand?
from. Yeah, I'll
quite a
drive
lot,
them.
Frank.
I know, but what they'll make in royalties.
Whilst we're on the subject of fairgrounds, what's your worst fair ride? To you first, Alan Cochrane.
Oh, probably the waltzers. That's beneath it. Yeah.
That's beneath you.
Or anything heights. I'm not great with heights.
Okay.
If I was you, I wouldn't go to fairgrounds. If you don't like heights or the waltzes.
I don't.
I love fairs, but I hate speed and heights. Yeah. So, Frank Skinner?
I went to the fair at Portobello near Edinburgh, and I went on the waltzes, and the guy said to me, it's quiet today, so you can have a double ride. And he basically span us, me and these 3 women, he basically span us for the whole ride. And when I got off there, my legs literally I couldn't stand upright. But the thing about coming off the waltzes is I think everyone gets a bit, it's sort of okay. But I once at Disneyland Paris got a bit queasy on the teacups.
Oh, you did.
You know those big teacups that you can sit in, like the Mad Hatter's teapot? And you don't want to be coming off there looking at green around the gills and a bit
so
dizzy.
Cute.
Oh, no, it was embarrassing.
I don't think I've ever found one of your stories cute before.
No, I don't do many cute ones. I favour obscene in my private life.
Yeah. Oh,
but
God.
obviously that's not appropriate in the current climate.
Not
I
on
hate.
air.
What about you, Emily?
Well, I mean, all of them, but Dodgems. Oh my God!
Oh, that's
I mean,
fun.
it's. Oh yeah, it's like you've been in a car accident because you have 40 times over. You just can't. It's like, well, why would you want to be in a car accident? No one wakes up and thinks, "Oh, I really want to know what it feels like to be in a car accident." It's horrible. I hate the Dodgems, and I hate those ones who are the mates of the men who run it, who hang on the cars, and you think, do you work here? Are you just like the man at the front of the bus?
What I like about the Dodgems is I would say I can't remember the last time I drove anywhere and didn't at some point think I would love to just drive into that block, just head on now. So it's nice to get that out of my system in some sort of legitimate arena. But I think that one day I'm going to get a car that's really on it. You know, it's got one MOT left that it's never going to get through, and I'm just going to drive around waiting for somebody to behave badly, and I'm going to power in. I'm going to power straight just to see their stupid face, the shock on their stupid faces.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Emily, I think I might have... You were talking about 99 ice creams and then we ended up at the fairground. I don't know quite how that happened, but do continue.
So often happens.
That's fine.
Yes, we were talking about that, and I believe we asked at one point, we were putting it out there that, you know, we didn't know where the name 99 had derived from. Mm-hmm. Lord St. John, at Lord St. John, has responded and said, Frank, the 99 is so called as the catering flake is 99 millimetres long. I was a bit...
Catering flake. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was a bit suspicious of this, so I decided to go forensic, and I looked up why is a 99 ice cream so called. That was a slow night.
Yeah.
And it's for this reason, apparently. There are all sorts of explanations, but this seems to be the most valid one. And it's to do with the fact that obviously it was Italians who brought over ice cream here, or it was the 50s, wasn't it? And in Italy, the king originally had a special elite guard consisting of 99 soldiers. So subsequently, anything special or first class was known as a 99.
Oh.
There you go.
Wow.
I quite like that. The King's Guard.
Yes. I mean, it wasn't like one of the most complicated decisions, was it? That we get ice cream. What if we put a flake, something else that people really like? If we put one of those in as well. That's like saying if we put hundreds and thousands on top or something, all that red syrupy stuff that you never see anywhere else in the world. Yeah, but they are.
Thank you, Lord St. John.
Lovely. Can I say, I bet there isn't probably another presenter in commercial radio who would pronounce that St. John.
Oh, sorry.
They'd have said... No, I'm commending you for that.
Good, thank you.
They'd have said St. John.
Yeah, I know.
But
we've also had a bit of
else?
feedback on the joke name pronunciation strand of inquiry that we were running last week.
Like when people say Stratford upon Avon for
Yes.
Stratford on Avon.
Johnny Vickers has contributed. There's an old theatre story that supposedly an Australian actor, when telling his British friends where he was touring to, mentioned, mentioned that his tour was going to Luga Baruga. Turned out he was talking about Loughborough. I've used it ever since I heard that story.
Yeah, it's the good thing about that is Luga Baruga really sounds like it would be a
Yes.
place in Australia.
Doesn't it?
It's got everything. that.
Really does. You flaming mongrels coming over here from Luga Baruga. It's so outback, Frank.
It's just that when I think of Loughborough, I think of people in tracksuits who don't read.
Oh, dear.
And,
I think
well, not books anyway.
I think of both because they go to sports college and college.
Yeah, I mean they don't. You know, they read things about sport.
Right.
I'm sure they're
my
great people.
God.
Not saying they're not great people.
No, Frank thinks that you can't be sporty and clever. That's it. It's official.
Does
it's out
he?
there.
Well, there's Gary
Oh,
Lineker. That's
no.
about it.
Oh, my God. What
And
about Graham Lasso?
He's only just.
Graham
Oh, Graham Lasso
Lasso.
read The Guardian, of course.
He read The Guardian, and then what do they call him? Brains or something. I like Graham Lasso. James Dutton, Frank, has reached out. I just thought this would personally appeal to you. Late review, Frank, but really enjoying Merlin. Thanks for the recommendation. 5 seasons.
Well, come on. It's been.
Me too.
They're all on demand now. The
Yeah,
entire
Netflix.
Merlin. Yeah, you can go in there and watch the whole damn thing.
Oh, I'm good, thanks. But,
Okay, well, you'll come back
I'm
to me.
enjoying
and say,
it.
You know, we used to take the mickey out of you. It's great, isn't it, Al?
It's good.
Yeah, it's brilliant. No, great was the word I used.
There are a lot of actors in it that were in other things. That's what I've noticed.
There's a lot of actors in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but not much acting, and that's how I like my drama.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
So that was music. You remember that? I don't know what it was because we pre-record. It might be in a song that I despise, but you know, it's happened now. It might be one I love. We haven't really talked about any news things other than the fact that we've gone from 4 to 3, which obviously is a major virus story. Anything else in the?
Well, obviously we look through the news to see if there's anything worth talking about. And one of the big stories this week is. It's not really one of the big stories this week, but it's one of the stories that it feels less booby-trapped to discuss on national radio.
I
Robbie
don't know if
Williams
you can even say
has-
booby-trapped anymore.
I don't know if we can. Robbie
not
Williams.
even if you're talking about the late John McCurrick's wife. That's it.
He did an
Movie,
interview
huh?
where he described, I don't know how to put it really, his sort of timetabling of his day. Apparently, he goes to bed around 5 or 6 a.m., stays asleep until noon, gets up and then doesn't eat until 5. So his first meal of the day is at 5 o'clock, and then he basically repeats that.
5 p.m.
Yeah, it's a very odd timetable, I think.
Right.
It smacks to me of people who are on a big diet but don't want to own up to it.
You think?
You know, people who eat one meal a day have often got something about, I just don't get hungry or I sleep till. And what they mean is, I've decided I look better thin. And
Right.
I'm prepared to suffer and build my whole life around achieving that. Why didn't he
Okay.
say that in his interview?
Okay.
Hello?
I'm here. I would like to present the case for the defence because
Okay.
this brought him very close to my heart when I read this. Do you know why?
Did it?
Yes, because I have a real problem with what I call smug larks. As something of a creature of the night myself, I mean, not to these lengths, because I don't have the money to be able to lead that lifestyle, but the smug larks do my head in. I'm sorry. It's this, I was up at 5 and I did all that. I really find those people quite difficult, I'm afraid. And I liked that he's coming out as a creature of the night. And he did admit, Frank, he did say the reason he's lost weight is because he's skipping meals.
Yeah.
Okay?
Not because he's skipping.
No.
No.
Okay. That's
He
what he
actually
should
said-
do, you see. He
he
should
said, "I'm a
eat
night-"
and do exercise.
Yeah. He said, I'm a night owl. It's the way I'm programmed. I don't like it. And then he revolved his head the full 360 degrees.
Oh, worth seeing. Why do people say... First of all, I have to disagree with you here, Emily. I think when people say, oh, I get up in the morning, you know, the smug lark you're talking about, I think people associate a morning person. People translate the phrase morning person as dull and a little bit frightened.
Okay.
I think that's how they
Well, it
see
is
those
true.
people. Whereas the night owl is out at night, you know, on the streets and all that. Hey, crazy. But why do they call themselves night owl? There's a suggestion that there's a species known as the day owl. I often see, you know, those day owls, you see. But there are owls that just go out at night, apparently. Just
Frank,
say he's an owl. That's what he is.
There is a left brain, right brain division. I think you are correct in that. I think that morning people do tend to be more task oriented as opposed to sort of creative, I believe. No judgment. I'm just saying. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think when people say I'm a night owl, it's always said with an air of pride. And I think when people say I'm a morning person, you think, oh, poor dear.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
We were talking about Robbie Williams's strange body clock type thing. As you intimated, Emily, most people can't really afford to be either a night owl or they just have to go to work when they have to go to work. But, you know, he's earned the right with years of success. When I was a student at Warwick University, I used to work from 11 o'clock at night. This work, you know, academically, 11 o'clock at night until 5 in the morning. And then I would, you can just get a lot done because people don't sort of come and knock on your door. And
Can I just say I used to stay up regularly till 5 in the morning and I didn't get a great deal done, but as you were.
Legend!
Yeah, but that was just my system. And there was other guys in the halls of residence I lived in who had a similar timetable. Again, working, not partying. And we used to watch TVAM, which was like the equivalent of Good Morning Britain. We used to watch that before we went to bed. We'd settle down and watch that. And it's not news night.
No.
Breakfast telly. It's I'd say one. I'll tell you
Was
what.
that in the Nico
I'd
and
say
Anne Diamond days, Frank?
It would be, yeah. And it was when sort of David Frost was involved and stuff like that. But I sort of respect breakfast telly people because obviously they don't really say anything of any real note. But nor do they pretend to. I think they're aware of the fact that they are there to make soothing noises, really, in the morning. And I think they sort of, you don't get this any. So when you get a guy like Piers Morgan on, he gets Tasmanian devil status from just saying the odd, you know, controversial thing. It's like when the kid at school who is, you know, by no means the hard boy in class goes to a Christian disco and suddenly becomes the Fonz. It's all about context.
Yeah.
Do you think we make soothing noises early in the morning? I worry we don't. What do you think, Frank? I mean, given
do,
that this
but
is an
not
early morning
deliberately.
show.
I make them in all sorts of strange ways. I don't think we probably. I think we'd have done better if we had. I'll be straight with you.
The bit
So I
think
see.
it's fine.
The bit about Robbie Williams' timetable that puzzled me was if he's not eating until 5 p.m, what does he call that meal? Because if he's calling it breakfast, that feels really wrong. But I suppose breakfast, as in the break of the fast, is true because it's his first meal of the day. But he can't be calling it tea, can he? Oh, I'm going to have my tea now. at 5 o'clock.
Could he just call it? He probably calls it the meal. Because it's developed a fairly unique status in his day.
So.
I mean, it does simplify things with the meal. You just got the one meal. What are we eating for the meal?
Yeah, but you could say, hunger strike simplifies things.
Oh dear. Do you know what I like, Frank? I remember. Did you ever hear that James Joyce always said he described his morning sort of schedule as, I like to lay smothered in my own thoughts until 11 a.m.
Excellent.
I mean, come on, that's good.
Yeah.
Sounds
I used
better
to
than
lie smothered in
anguished.
my own urine till about 10 to 11. But those, they were darker days.
Sake.
Frank Skinner. Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We were discussing Robbie Williams basically staying up all night. I think Elvis was a very big fan of that. Elvis,
Was he?
he stayed up all night. Yeah, he was an owl. I don't think he was the fat owl of the Remove, which I believe is what Billy Bonter was. That was his bill matter. But one of the first things the boys used to do when they checked into a hotel was they'd stick like kitchen foil on all the windows so that he could sleep in the day and no light came in.
Oh, that's depressing, isn't it?
Very good light excluder, apparently.
Like a very
I
early
don't know.
version
It
of
wasn't a bad
travel
light.
blackout blinds.
Is there such a thing as travel blackout blinds? I'm not familiar with those.
There must be.
I don't know. We should ask Alan Parker.
Oh, sorry, I thought you'd got some.
Do you know other night owls? I believe Simon Cowell. I think Amir Khan. I think he's one, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
We're getting a picture. But do you remember, Al? We talked about Mark Wahlberg and his routine, and he
I
wakes
do.
up at 2:30 a.m. and then at 2:45 a.m. prayer time.
I do remember him
Okay.
and his
Yeah.
day because mainly it seemed to be about eating different species of animal every 35 minutes. I remember him being a danger to wildlife. That's my main memory.
7:30 p.m.
Really? I
bedtime.
don't remember
though,
this
Frank.
at all.
No, we
Must
did
have been one
discuss
of
it.
my weeks off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he goes to bed at
There's
7:30.
Perhaps I'm
Wow.
perhaps I'm scrutinising the journalism too carefully here, but there's a bit in the article about Robbie Williams where it says he ditched his wild ways after becoming a father of 4. Now, are they suggesting that he continued with his wild ways when he had his first 3 children, but then ditched his
They're
wild
absolutely
ways?
crazy. Yeah, he probably... Well, everybody's got a ceiling, haven't they?
Or
He
did he
probably
have
thought, that's it now.
quadruplets and go, right, I'm going to really straighten my life out now?
I think he's having to sleep in the day because old Jimmy Page is up
Oh,
with playing the
yeah.
guitar. I'm just saying.
Oh, of course. Haven't they made a pact? I think they've made a pact. In case you don't know, Jimmy Page is Robbie Williams. Whenever I say Robbie Williams, I want to say Robert, because that's what Jerry Halliwell always calls him, to suggest that we know they were intimate, but it suggests that there's an eternal link between them, which there probably isn't. But Robert Williams and James Page of Led Zeppelin fame are neighbours. I didn't have a relationship with him, by the way, and although I have
wish you
turned a
did.
few pages in my time. And he,
God.
they've had a long-running feud about building work and stuff, the way people do in private houses.
Yeah.
But I think that they've come to some sort of peaceful agreement.
Yes.
Maybe that because Robbie sleeps all night and Jimmy Page, I imagine, reads the works of Aleister Crowley out loud from his balcony whilst pouring goat blood into the swimming pool he's having built. I could be wrong about that, but you know what they're like. You know what they're like. He wasn't really a metaler. He was into it. Did he buy Aleister Crowley's house or something? There was some
believe
devil
he did,
worship
yeah.
element to Jimmy Page. Let's hope that that's not where he's living now.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to
You don't want
next door
Aleister
neighbour
Crowley
night owl.
coming round. You don't need Alistair Crowley in a nightgown coming round and saying, "Can you keep the noise down a bit? I'm trying to contact Lucifer."
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Hello, this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. I don't text the show because I'm afraid we're not live. But you can still follow us at Frank on the Radio on Twitter and Instagram, or you can email via the Absolute Radio website. Do it.
Well, people have been emailing. We used to have an email corner jingle, didn't we? But we won't.
We don't have any jingles now.
We'll just jump into it. We received an email a little while ago. Morning legends, it begins. On a recent show, Frank mentioned rashly getting rid of both a pinball machine and table football set he'd had made with guests from his chat show on them.
Well, I mean, people had them made for me.
Yeah.
But yes.
Such as Jamie Lee Curtis and Kenny Rogers.
Yeah.
He asked if anyone had any information as to where they'd got to and where they are now. I'm excited to say that I do have info about this.
Wow.
Jamie Lee Curtis is still plying her trade as an actress with some success, appearing in motion pictures.
Oh, no, I didn't mean that.
Kenny Rogers is sadly no longer with us.
No, I meant the actual...
Oh. Ned.
I think that was an amusing misunderstanding from Ned there.
Yeah, because we can never be certain that Ned comically misunderstood that. He might have actually misunderstood it. It's a very fine line. But no, it was good. I thought for a moment there I was going to... But, you know, if someone had those, they would try and make me pay through my... What do they say? Through the nose, is that?
Yeah, through the nose.
Undoubtedly.
Okay, you know, I'm not having it.
Frank, we talk often of this show, of the chair. Do you want to... And I thought of the chair recently when you were talking about vehicle noises outside your house during one of our breaks, and it reminded me of whenever, you know, people used to hear vehicle noises, in the chair was always Sterling Moss. It was always, who do you think you are, Sterling Moss?
Yeah, the chair, I should explain for any new readers, is that it's a comic device, and it's if you're going to do a reference to something, say you were going to do a reference to someone who was a heavy drinker, and you were doing that joke 20 years ago, you'd have said Oliver Reed.
Yeah.
Yes, he was
And
in the
there's
chair.
often, if you wanted, we were talking about the fact that recently that Brad Pitt is probably still in the good-looking bloke chair. It's just the one you go to for that.
Who do you think you are, Brad
mean, the
Pitt?
traffic-
Ryan Gosling might be just inching, but it's not. No, you're right.
well known enough, I don't think.
David
I
Beckham?
know that sounds odd.
No, you're right.
David Beckham, possibly, but of course, there's
It's
still
Pitt.
the lazy,
It's Pitt's
lazy
chair.
lip.
Yeah.
I would say also on vehicle noises. I used as a thing. When me and Dave lived together and watched a great deal of football, there was a French player called Papin, and every time the commentator said Papin, I used to say that'll be my car. I mean, every time. Marvellous.
Oh, David is a tolerant man.
Yes.
Emma has been in touch with us to say, hi, Frank, Divine Miss M and Muscles.
Oh, hello.
I went into work in a newish pair of boots, which I thought most suitable for the snow and rain. One of my colleagues looked down at them and sniffed, "Ooh, look at Imelda Marcos, always in a new pair of shoes." This got me wondering, has anyone ever been more secure in the chair than Imelda Marcos still is in the lots of pairs of shoes chair?
Yeah,
I can't think of
that's
anyone else who would ever take her place. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Praise redacted, Emma.
The Daily Mirror once voted me as the greediest person in the world. And,
Bit harsh.
Yeah, and in fourth place was Imelda Markov. So I feel that we are forever linked.
What shoes did she wear to the ceremony?
Yeah, I can't remember. I didn't go to the ceremony. The fee wasn't right. But I did this morning once, and
Congratulations.
they said, sorry, we don't actually have a dressing room because we've got a dance troupe in and they're taking up a lot of room. So we're going to put you in Fern's dressing room.
Oh, yeah.
And they put me in Fern Britton's dressing room, and she had a lot of shoes. I mean, just as in her dressing room, I don't know what she's got at home, but a great many shoes. So, Emily, if I were to, I don't want to put you on the spot, Em, but ballpark figure, how many pairs of shoes would you say you've got?
Oh, God. I would say probably about 50 to 60. Possibly.
Legend.
Yeah. Is that a lot?
Yeah.
Possibly
Well,
70.
no, I
Possibly 80.
recently, I remember the moment when I looked at my shoes and thought, allowing for my age, I need never buy another pair of shoes as long as I... So I've got enough shoes. Thanks very much.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I need to pick Alan's brains on this one because he's
Mine?
a physical fitness enthusiast. I've been doing, as you know, me and my family, my son and my partner, have been doing the Joe Wicks PE workout every morning during lockdown. And there's a thing that Joe Wicks always says. Some mornings he'll get up and he'll say, "Oh, I had a terrible night last night. I didn't sleep hardly. It was awful." He said, "But the great thing about exercise," he said, and it's a weird thing, but when you feel really tired, you think, "Oh, I'm too tired." He said, "But when you do it, it cures the tiredness." He said, "There's a weird thing that the effort you put in the exercise stops you from being tired. You feel full of energy again." And he'll often say at the end, "You see, I was really tired today, and now I feel like I could jump over a house." And he started to convince me that this was the case, because at first I poo-pooed the idea.
Yeah.
And then this week he announced that he's going to move from 5 mornings a week to 3 mornings a week because he's tired. And I thought, well, your philosophy has been destroyed by this.
Yeah.
I really felt I'd been let down.
Really?
I think you've got him absolutely snookered there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Why
a poor
doesn't
show from Wicks, you know.
So we're going to carry on, us Wixians, and we're going to go back. We're going to go back to the beginning.
Oh, that's a
Are
good idea.
you?
Yeah, and we're going to watch.
You're going to watch
What's
old
that?
ones?
Yeah. To be
You
honest,
see-
he's upped the ante a bit over the course of the 3 months, so it'll be a blessed release to go back to the old 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. And he also said, what about this? I saw an interview. He said the BBC were begging him to sign a contract with them. I could have done without that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we know
Don't-
what's round the corner, Frank. Greediest man in Britain.
Yeah, those
So,
days
you know,
are
be
gone.
careful what you Wicks for, okay?
Would the greediest man in Britain have turned down 4 boxes of free food every day?
Good
Certainly
point.
not.
Either you've changed or they were wrong.
I haven't changed for the course of lockdown
Frank,
in so many ways.
you're talking about watching old episodes, as it were.
God,
Can I
wonder
just
what you're
say?
going to say then.
Can I just say I've been revisiting Big Brother, the best ever shows, and I do recommend a stroll down memory lane, if only to see the late John McCririck say, when asked of Caprice about his travelling arrangements, I normally go in club class, and I'm afraid I do stick the booby in the cattle truck.
Oh, wow.
About his wife. So
I'm glad to hear that's his wife, because it could be construed in so many
yes.
ways.
Also worth watching for the line, Coolio is smoking with Terry Christian by the ashtray. I mean, come on. Oh, it delivered.
It's gone forever now, has it, Big Brother?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think it's possibly a bit problematic, isn't it, these days? It's
Is it? Smoking, certainly.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could face it now. It feels so tied to its time.
Yeah.
But, hey.
Give McCririck a go.
Yeah. No longer with us, of course, McCree.
Yeah.
Blimey. I wonder what happened to all that tweed, what they did with all that.
Frank Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
We were discussing Robbie Williams' sleep routine being peculiar the other day. In other sleep news, at King's College London found that half of British adults have had disturbed sleep in lockdown, and 2 in 5 are having more vivid dreams than normal. Really? And I wondered if you guys were having weirder sleeps during this strange period.
Why are people having more vivid dreams? Perhaps during the course of lockdown, they've forgot how vivid life is in general, and they're just having normal dreams.
Well, there is a reason, isn't there? Because I suppose the point of dreams is it's processing emotions you felt during the day, and so that you don't have to act them all out. By the way, I do act them all out. But for those that don't, that's where they go, is your dreams, essentially.
I'm glad you've said that, because I think that shows that my journey is about right, ready to leave lockdown, because at the start of lockdown, I had a few quite cliched, like sitting up at 3 a.m. bolt upright nightmares, like, you know, those sort of proper, like those ones.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And only a couple of nights ago, I had a very vivid dream about stand-up comedy. My first stand-up comedy dream since lockdown. What is it, 3 months or something? And the bit that I really liked about it is how normal it was, because it wasn't that I was doing stand-up. I was waiting to go on to do stand-up, and there was a very good-looking male double act, both like young guys, maybe 20s, 30s, and they were really self-indulgent and stinking the room out. They were starting to get heckled, and I was in the wings thinking, oh great, they're going to go really badly, and then I'm on. It felt really
That's
normal.
A lovely
It felt
dream.
like, hey,
I've got a question
The
for
opposite
you.
of a nightmare.
it was
I've got a
great.
question,
oh man,
actually.
it was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
For both you and Frank, which is
Good-looking people dying on stage. Doesn't get any better, dreams-wise.
best thing ever.
Literally dreamy. I loved it.
I've got a question for you, both you and Frank, which is, you know how rats dream of a rat's activities? They do actually dream, apparently, and dogs dream of a dog's
right?
activities. Yeah, I mean, you know, what are their activities? Oh, I did a wee today, you know. However, I want to know, as stand-ups, do you dream of actually doing a gig? Not just standing in the wings, as Al said, but do you dream of yourself on stage performing stand-up? That question first to Frank Skinner.
Well, I'd say one of the single most frustrating dreams I ever had was me on stage absolutely ripping it up, even better than I've ever done. I mean, everything was... And I couldn't quite hear what I was saying.
No.
And I woke up thinking, oh, my God, I remember thinking, this is brilliant, but I could not remember. I just, you know, in an ideal world, I would have woke up and I would have been one of those court stenographers, you know, like that, and I would have rattled it all down. It would have been. So it's what sort of nagged at me is that there is the greatest comedy gig of all time is in me.
Right.
It's like when you go to the seaside and you try and get one of those cuddly toys with the big claw. And the big claw goes down and it's got the teddy's leg. It's got the leg and you think, that's got it, I've got it. Is that? And when it comes up, the teddy moves a bit and then it drops down. And it's like that. The best stand-up gig ever, and I can't quite get the claw low enough.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We were, don't panic, we were actually talking about dreams, but not people talking about... My dreams, actually, during lockdown, were a bit Dominic Cummings, to be honest.
Oh, were they?
In that they didn't really acknowledge lockdown for the first few weeks. And then I started having dreams in which I was aware of my distance from people and stuff. It's true that it just took my brain a while to readjust to the new world.
Yeah, well, I asked you the question, Frank Skinner, and then, like question time, you know, all the panel have to be asked this question, and I'm also interested, Al, what is your experience of dreaming of gigs?
Well, I think in normal times, I'm doing that much stand-up that if I dream about stand-up comedy, it's usually an anxiety dream about a forthcoming gig. So I would dream like the scenery was falling on me, or that I wasn't getting to the gig because there was like a roadblock or something like that.
Oh,
But I'm very
there'd be travel.
heartened. I'm very heartened by my recent development where a handsome double act are doing really badly on stage before me, because now someone else is taking the hit. It's a really positive development. It's the opposite of an anxiety dream. It was a confidence dream.
Mm.
No, it sounds idyllic. I must say.
Well,
Is it a Schadenfreude dream? Is that what I'm having?
The best definition of Schadenfreude I ever heard was a French writer who talked about the very exclusive pleasure of watching a close friend fall off the roof of a house. Which I thought was rather lovely.
you dream less when you're on holiday. I was interested to read that. No, I'm sorry. I've got that completely the wrong way round. You remember your dreams more on holiday, quite the opposite.
Oh, really?
Because you've got fewer distractions. So often when people say, I don't remember my dream, it means they're quite a type A, get things done person. What I'm saying is, to say you remember your dream vividly, people might think you're a bit of a lazy slob. That's what I'm saying.
Well, people do think that of me.
One of my people have been talking about how they've slept badly in lockdown, but I have I've enjoyed sleeping badly in lockdown because I haven't had to get up and race off anywhere to go to work. I've only got to sort of slide downstairs, do Joe Wicks, and then 4 hours of homeschooling. But it's all,
like an easy day.
next to me. But it
Slide
means...
down. I bet he uses a banister.
but
I can see you doing that.
But it means that I wake up in the night and, several... Again, I was saying earlier, at my age, I've got all the shoes I need. Also, at my age, if I lie awake 3.5 hours, I'm thinking, well, here's 3.5 hours I didn't think I was gonna get. And because it's not sort of I've got to be absolutely razor sharp tomorrow, that kind of feeling. I'm not thinking, oh man, I need to get to sleep. I'm sort of thinking, I'll have a nice little think if I'm going to be awake. I do honestly think that. I think, time me out and just have a real nice think. And
Frank's using his insomnia for philosophy.
Yeah,
A bit James Joyce, smothered in his own thoughts.
it's quite nice thinking. I should try it. I think it might catch. Well, no, it's too late now. We're coming out of it, but
Just going to write that down. Try thinking.
Jermaine Greer once told me that she lived alone and that she said that she's liked to put aside 3 hours a day for thinking.
Brilliant.
She didn't make notes or anything. She just thought. And I thought, wow.
Oh, I like that.
Lazy cow, I thought.
God.
I did.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
We've been talking about something everyone is saying, I think, that they've slept badly during lockdown. But isn't that because they're not doing much physical generally? They're not going out much. There's a Samuel Johnson quote. I love Samuel Johnson, as you may know, and he's the 18th century writer. And
He's still all
was
right
talking
as well,
about,
I believe.
I don't understand.
Well, he's still all right, as in he's not, he's
he's still all right.
It's okay to,
He's not been
and he,
cancelled.
oh, God forbid, I won't allow that to happen.
Good luck.
He talked about, lazy people generally. I know laziness has somewhat been forced upon us.
Yeah.
But he said a man whose day differs from his night only in as much as a couch differs from a bed, which I really like.
I also like the way he started a lot of his observations with a man who, or
Yes.
when a man.
There's a lot of that.
I know.
He said sir a lot as well.
Oh, did he? Oh, I like someone who says sir.
Conversation.
But that's
Sir,
my private life.
never accustom your mind to mingle vice and virtue. It was all that. You don't get it now. You've probably seen a bit of it on the Best of Big Brother. You've been watching.
Yeah, I think that's a famous
sure-
Dennis Rodman quote you just
Yeah.
did, isn't it?
Yeah.
I had an email today. I emailed someone at
busy,
my
busy, busy.
at my
Busy.
management. I know.
Ooh.
I've framed it. I've printed it off and framed it. And I'd asked someone in my office, as it were, about some enquiry about something, and they said he said I've passed the message on to them, but they're OOO today.
Oh,
So
I
I
see.
probably won't know till Monday. And now it may seem obvious to you, but I had never seen that abbreviation before.
Oh, what did you think
And I
it was?
thought at first 3 zeros, like, they're just finished today. Or I thought, could be,
Yeah.
maybe they're, they're at the ideal. They're at the Ideal Home exhibition.
Made
I
fun.
like that.
Oh yeah. Ooh, I would have thought I can't really talk about it, but that's what I would have assumed.
Yeah, they've got
It's a bit of gossip.
an interior designer in the office today talking to. Yeah, completely. But it means out of office, which I had to work out for myself. So every day is a school day, as they say.
Would
And
you
it's
use
certainly true at the
OO?
moment.
Would you use OO as an abbreviation?
What, for out of office?
Yeah, if you had to say I won't. Sometimes people write it themselves. They say I will be for the next 2 weeks. Would you do it?
I like the idea of describing myself as out of office, even though I don't work in an office. As just, not, I don't want any, leave me alone, I'm out of office, if you know what I mean.
I see you as the office manager of laughter. Thank you.
I'm
Good
going
day.
to
thank
start
you.
using it just when I'm in the living room. I'll just text my wife saying I'm out of office.
Yeah,
I'm in the living room.
I think it's...
That'll be nice, Al, for her.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a new one on me, so go away and disperse that at your will. Look, Sarah Champion is up next. I'm sorry, again, we don't have any jingles, but I can't. Champion. Listen to her anyway. She's nice. And thank you for listening to us. And if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.